Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2017.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, for those wonderful words. Everyone, please join me in thanking Leon Harris one more time. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Good morning, parents, faculty, administration, and my fellow classmates. It is an honor to have the opportunity to speak before you all today. But most of all, it is an honor to be here as a member of the graduating class of 2017. Before I begin, I want to warn you all that I'm a huge fan of inspirational quotes. I'll be using several in my speech today, but Mrs. Pagley, please don't worry, I have my Noodle Tools citations right here. Thank you. On a more serious note, I want everyone in a blue robe to take a second to reflect on the 4 years that are now behind us. And now, I want you all to give yourselves a round of applause, because class of 2017, we made it. Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu once said, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." High school has truly been a journey. A journey that began for most of us on August 26, 2004, when we took our first steps into Wayside, Potomac, Seven Locks, Bells Mill, and Beverly Farms elementary schools. Sporting laminated name tags with our bus numbers so we wouldn't get lost, and with backpacks as big as we were, our journey began. A frequently asked question in class was, "Teacher, when am I going to need this in life?" Now, our teachers are no fools. They know that the real purpose of an education isn't simply memorizing vocabulary sheets or practicing math formulas. Albert Einstein once said, "Education is what remains after one has forgotten everything that he learned in school." At Churchill, our teachers taught us not only what to learn, but how to learn. Not what to think, but how to think. And for that, I say thank you. Rewind 1,352 days. We took our first steps into the Churchill Auditorium doors as freshmen. The drumline, cheerleaders, and poms were all waiting with open arms to accept us into the Bulldog family. Churchill is a huge community, more than 2,000 students strong. But what makes it special to each and every one of us is how we've managed to make that community a little smaller and found our own unique ways to connect and contribute. Whether it was through sports, clubs, or community service, there have been countless opportunities available to us. The magic on Gainsborough Road never ended at 2:30 with the final bell. For many of us, that was just the beginning. Look at Brandon Ollinger and Bradley Leventhal, who have followed a path of giving. Brandon and Bradley combined their passion for basketball with their commitment to the American Lung and American Heart Associations. They developed a basketball knockout tournament that has raised over $10,000 to date. And Lucy Lee, who has followed a path of discipline. Lucy hones her skills every day at Ome Wushu Kung Fu Center in Fairfax, Virginia, while simultaneously juggling a rigorous course load and managing to graduate high school in just 3 years. Her devotion has earned her the title of World Champion for Wushu Martial Arts, and she is only 16 years old. And Lauren Hassan, who's followed a path of leadership. Not only did Lauren move to the Churchill community in the middle of high school, but she truly hit the ground running with her creation of the Slam Poetry Club. She led her team to regionals this month, where they placed first in the state and second in the DMV. And Ethan Schreier, who has followed a path of passion. Ethan has been the first chair of the National Youth Orchestra since his sophomore year, arguably the best high school trombonist in the country, and will be attending Juilliard next year to continue his musical endeavors. It is people like Brandon, Bradley, Lucy, Lauren, and Ethan whose determination and passion for what they do is truly inspiring. But the list goes on. There's something spectacular about each and every one of us graduating here today, and I can't wait to see where the next chapter of our journeys takes us. On the topic of journeys, one of my personal favorites from high school was the orchestra trip to Puerto Rico. As a science guy, I couldn't wait to venture into the bioluminescent bay. It was a perfect night. Full moon, clear skies, and best of all, it was Valentine's Day. Romance was in the air, and as a sophomore guy, I was praying that I would end up with one of the girls on the trip, possibly even a senior. 2 by 2, each canoe filled up until there were only 2 of us left. I glanced over, and to my astonishment, I got my wish. My canoe partner is in this room. She's actually sitting on stage. She's right next to me, and her name is Dr. Joan Benz. I would like to extend a very special thank you to Dr. Benz. You gave us the roadmap to success, but had the confidence to, at times, let us go off-road. We've seen you early in the morning and late at night, at meetings, banquets, on international trips, and then some. You were Churchill's greatest cheerleader, and we thank you for your endless support and commitment to our class. Thank you, Ms. Brandis, for all of your behind-the-scenes work. And a very special thank you to someone graduating his first class of seniors, Mr. Doherty, our incredible staff sponsor. When you signed my yearbook 3 days ago, you wrote, "Max, I have probably called and texted you more than any other person since 2014. I don't know if that's a good thing or just sad." Mr. Doherty, I think it's great that we've had the opportunity to grow so close together, and I know that our class wouldn't be the same without you. Thank you. When I started as class president, I faced a fork in the road. We had too many people who wanted to help. I was lost and had no idea how to cut down on a list of qualified individuals. So I said, screw it. As a result, we've assembled the largest exec board in Churchill history, and that has made all the difference. Class of 2017, if I had told you 4 years ago that we would have a dedicated group of 60 individuals who would stay after school until 10 p.m. during homecoming week, a group who would solicit more than 200 prizes for our silent auction, and who would ultimately help our class raise over $40,000, you would have told me I set the bar too high. I would now like to ask the exec board to stand up, and everyone, let's hear it for your exec board. There's a universal truth that we all have to face, whether we want to or not, and that is that everything eventually ends. As much as I've looked forward to this day, I've always disliked endings. The final chapter of a great book, the last day of summer, the final scene of a great movie. But endings are inevitable. You close the book, the leaves turn brown, the credits roll. Today is one of those days for us. Today, we say goodbye to everything that was comfortable, everything that was familiar, and we're moving on to the next chapter of our lives. Always remember the true value of a Churchill education. Our mentors taught us the value of learning, cultivated our intellectual curiosity, and fostered young minds that will engage in the world around us. Rest assured, we are all headed in the right direction. We can leave Churchill with our heads held high, knowing that each and every one of us has the resilience to overcome any roadblock that may get in our way. I encourage everyone in this room to continue trying, exploring, taking risks. If my experiences in high school have taught me anything, it is to embrace failure. J.K. Rowling once said, "Some failure in life is inevitable." It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you've lived so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default. So don't fail by default. Don't be afraid of failure. Strive for greatness, just as you all have the past 4 years. And when we look back on our time together, we will say with continued pride that we are the graduating class of 2017. Up until today, most steps in your life have been planned for you. Your feet have followed a predetermined trail. But in just a few moments, you'll have the freedom and immense opportunity to carve your own path. As you take these 18 steps across the stage and receive your diploma, keep in mind the wise words of Dr. Seuss. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You know what you know, and you're on your own, and you are the one who will decide where to go. Remember the lessons you learned on Gainsborough Road. They will serve as your compass, guiding you when the stress makes you want to explode. Follow your heart, see your ideas through. The path ends here. The rest is up to you. Thank you.